Alright, today it's time for the next Swans record, finally. I was listening to so much this year, the last month, or like since almost 2 months now. What a great fucking album. I mean, A Piece of the Sky Apostate, Lunacy, The Mother of the Word. So many damn good tracks. Like, that really is a masterpiece. 10 out of 10. Haven't changed my opinion about that in any way possible. Yeah. And it's a 2 hour album, and it doesn't drag on at all. I can easily listen to this here through anytime. And it's amazing. I don't know. I was listening to that one once when I was on a train. That was like 5 hour trip. Damn. Anyways, it was like a 5 hour trip or something, and well, I listened to that album 2 times back to back, and it is still crazy. The sound is different than anything I've ever listened to. Also, the live shows I watched to that are so different. It's so loud. It's crazy. Well, were never on one live show, so I guess I still have my hearing because they kind of like all have tinnitus or stuff like that. But yeah, no, great album. I'm really looking forward to Be Kind right here. The next album right here in their discography. We close to the end actually, but that's nothing to be really sad about, I guess. Something to be excited about. Something they end up with. And I mean, I also saw that there were and teasing an album coming out this year, 2023. So that's pretty cool. There are no real dates or something, but I guess I'm looking forward to that. Maybe I'll get through all their albums until that. But yeah, I mean, we did this Swans tour right here for like 6, 7, 8 months. I'm not sure. It was such a long time. It's crazy how much different music they just put out, and also see all of the years, and it's just amazing. So let's appreciate that, and let's also. I got so many thoughts about this next album right here. What could this be? First, we got to see what's this like really with Seer on the cover, and right here, the next one, we got a child screaming in a weird way and just like looking really weird, and just like tears running down. This looks abrasive, looks aggressive, looks like something maybe a little bit more noisier, annoying, maybe also like a crying child, if you know what I mean. I don't know if the music is going to be like that. Haven't looked anything about that, or about haven't read anything about the sound, but I guess some people think that this is the best album by Swans, or just their favorite. So I guess there has to be something about this album right here. What else did I think about this one or think through before listening? Well, I'm not really sure. It's again 2 hours. It's a long ass album, you see, but I guess we see what this will be like. Really excited. I didn't first know if I wanted to do this as a stream or just like as a video, but I thought, well, let's do it as a video. I hope I will get through this in 2 hours sitting. I guess it will be fine. I got time today, so yeah, let's go. We got 10 tracks. The first track is called Screenshot. Like screenshot. Sounds interesting. I don't know if it's gonna move on where the C left at the end of the kind of like writing or sound or idea. I'm not really sure, but I guess we'll find out. I'm excited. Screenshot, let's listen. Just from the beginning, just bass, drums. We didn't had something like this, but it's kind of like the same mixing as we had in this year. So I guess it's the same recording. The band didn't really did anything else, or I guess there are no additional members or something. I guess, but yeah, it kind of like sounds like the Mother of the World second track of the Seer. Very catchy actually. The bass is really interesting, but it gets a really weird undertone, but also has a groove. Like if you listen to those hats just right here, there's not much happening, but it's interesting as an intro. Let's see. So we had the first Geo vocals on here, and he sounds like on the title track of the last album, I guess, a little bit. Something in between that. But he again uses a weird vocal set, like it sounds like this and this and this. And it's really weird, but I love it. And right here, in each bar, in each four tone, right here, he has like 4 different words. For example, love, child, reach, rise. I'm not sure what this really is. It kind of gives me a feel of sometimes there's one word that really doesn't add up to each other. Like for example, mouth, sand, teeth, tongue. Like yes, mouth, teeth, tongue makes sense, but sand, you know what I mean? Or sun, come, sky, tower. Come, what does come mean with all the other things? Mind, scar, clear, fire. Mind, scar, clear, fire. I'm not sure about that one, but kind of like there's something about there, but I'm not sure. But let's see how this will move on. Yeah, this is great. First, I thought that there were not like heavy layering on this track right here. Like on the Seer, when it comes to building and progression in tracks, there's not much like, there are more like sonic changes, not transitions or anything like that. Right here, it's a little bit different also. We got some additions, but I see it more as like little sections of instrumentals right here on this track so far. For example, then there comes this bass as a kind of like a layering. So it's kind of like twisted in between that. Maybe because also this track is 8 minutes and a bit longer. It makes sense that sometimes you don't really get the transition or get the layering, if you know what I mean. But this is great, Savine. I love this. It's really groovy. The drumming is amazing. I don't know if it's like double drumming on here, but there are also pretty many percussions, so I guess the percussion is right here, really sets it in. The bass is amazing. I don't know, it's like some like really grungy bass, almost sounds like a synth. It's amazing. That sound right there, that one was crazy. I love that one. Let's move on.
No will, no speech.
This is amazing, right? This is piano coming in, and it reminds me of some like older blues rock stuff. Well, this is obviously not blues rock, but the piano riff right here is amazing and really gives this one a really like a fast tone and a fast, more like sonic feeling to this track, which is amazing. And I think this one really needs as an intro. Do make sense that the first half, like the first 4 minutes of this track, is more like not silent, but takes his time with like the progression and the heaviness. We also had that with Lunacy, because like first it really gets into like harsh things, like it's the second track, it's a like and outro, and right here we has maybe have something different, but keeps kind of like the idea of the seer. I don't want it to compare too much to that, but I mean, it's 2 hours between like 2 years, maybe some like different recordings, but still out of the same era, I guess. But yeah, this one is very amazing. And then the writing right here, no this, no that, and things like that. No pain, no death, no fear, no hate, no time, no nouns, no suffering. Like, I guess all these thoughts and things that Jira puts out here right here are good. But sometimes you just think, well, when all these things are not, what is there? Like, no time, no mind, no words. Like, if there are no words, there can be no lie. And things like that. No speech also. And because of that, there will be no hate, but there can also be good speech. And kind of like Jira puts this word, and it gives me kind of like the feeling, a little bit of nihilism. And kind of like this writing is pretty philosophical or something like that, but it's great right here, put into words, and I really like that. It's a little bit different from like songwriting in music normally, I guess, but I love this. It's like if you look like in an abstract picture or something, it's great.
No dream, no sleep, no suffering. No dream, no sleep, no suffering. No dream, no sleep, no suffering. No mind, no hand, no fear, no knife, no mind, no hand, no fear.
It's building very hardly right on this track, and I don't want to like get the transition away, and I will go a little bit back, but right here I think like he gets louder and louder and gets his thoughts out. I think I got now his idea of these little bit of bars right here puts out, like pain now, there's like pain now, and time here is kind of like painful, and also there the mind always thinks about using a knife in the hand. It gives fear to other people. And it's just something like that. So there's no knife, no mind, no hands, so we have no fear. Things like that. Like, this is great writing, and wow. Yeah, this is great. Let's go a little bit back.
Hey, no now, no time, no here, no knife, no mind, no hand, no fear.
I'm honestly kind of speechless what I really went through right here. The first track, screenshot. I was just really thinking about like screenshot. What? I mean, yeah, of course, like you're at the phone and doing a screenshot, but do they really mean that in a way? I mean, that's from 2014, this album right here. This track probably even maybe older. Be very weird. Screenshot. But yeah, I have to tell you, this track right here is crazy. As a starter, perfect. The end right there is an apocalypse. Like, it explodes. Maybe we should open up a genre, explosive rock. We had that at some other tracks, like for example at the end of Avatar. I think eighth or seventh track on this year. At the end, right there on the outro, maybe Mother of the World at the end. But while that one was my groovy, and right here at the end, we get this like scratching, wow, wow, really heavy like guitars and stuff like that. And there's like always these one guitars. I think it's a slide guitar that's really noised up. That's always screeching and screaming around, and it sounds amazing. There's so much about this track, and then after all these things, well, this nihilism, and then goes to love now, breathe now, appreciating the things, I guess, and then here now, and it screams it out, and it gets louder and louder. It really gets to you. Also, right here on the seer at the end, where it's about like death and reincarnation and stuff. This really makes sense. Also, why maybe there's a child. I was thinking about that, and obviously, or maybe it is true. They're connected in that way. It's great. I love that. What else is there? There's like a really heavy like part about this track where it really snaps and goes into the heavy part. It's probably the same as they always went for on the C when getting into a crescendo, and it's a clever way to do it. You always like get snapped by it, while right here I thought it was more obvious when transitioning into it, and I think that the progression to it was more open, and in that I enjoyed that really. Yeah, so I don't know what to tell you there. This one is a 10. I don't care. It's 10. I just wanted something like this, to be honest. I didn't want it to be this track something else like that. After this year, I didn't really know what to expect. I thought it's going to be more noisy and heavier and more ear fatiguing. But this is great. Yeah, I love that. Also slowly evolving into something like that. Swans is like this thing. It's a shit. All right, let's see what else is comes right here in our way. The next track is called Just a Little Boy. All right, let's see what this one is. Just a Little Boy. It sounds kind of weird, but let's see.
Now sleep in the belly of woman. Now sleep in the belly of love.
A very different sound from the first track right here. His voice is more back there. It's very not reverbed, but he is in a more wider range of room right here, and sound. It's like he's like in a corner or in front of a wall or in a belly. Wanted to maybe have a sound like that. Now I sleep in the belly of woman, man, rhythm, love. There's also more like, also these words connecting to each other, come on in like a form of a sentence, a poem, or maybe just like in a philosophical way. First I thought, no, I sleep in the belly of woman. Yeah, sure, of course. That's kind of like a concept of birth and things like that. And then into man, and then belly of rhythm, and then of love. That was really interesting for me. In the belly of love, I kind of like I get the idea of that. um, and like kind of like thinking about like if you are in a belly and you're surrounded in love and like, oh yeah, here's a baby in this belly and it's love, things like that. I don't know, but rhythm and man, I mean, there's some kind of maybe or like connections to that, but yeah, that's really interesting. The sound is really weird, like those little swells and slow kind of progression right here. And this is one drawn really far back in the sound right here, and the panning, and it sounds really distant, and everything right here is so distant and reserved. Nothing tries to blow you away, or just a noise. And I think this album did a really good idea of that sound. And right here it also transitions more into like delving into more rhythmic sections and ideas. The drumming is amazing. There's a lot of percussion. The bass right here is again perfect. It's not as sonically and groovy as on the first track, but it's slower and it gets you into like this weird maybe feeling you get also in movies when you see some far distant heated warm places and it's dizzying and weird, and you kind of get the feeling on this track. It's amazing.
And I sleep in the belly of you. I'm just a little boy. I'm just a little boy.
What are these kind of vocals by Gio right here? Like, I'm just a little boy, and then there comes in this laughing, and I kind of like get, hello camera, and I kind of like get the feeling of like, when you're kind of like a child, and but you kind of would be aware about it, and you would hear these laughs. Oh, like look at the children. It's kind of like weird. Why do we feel about children like in that way? And it's kind of like this concept gets me aware of that in a weird way, and I like it. And then I'm not human. I need love. I don't know when this I need love comes, but wow, I'm not human, and it gets kind of like his voice gets even more like abrasive and weird, and I don't even know how to explain the sound right here. There's like kind of like a progression and building with instruments. It gets faster, like then we get some rides on the drummers, more and more percussion, more wider instrumentations, then a lot of like scratching on the slide guitar. I've seen the slide guitarist like playing once in this live show on the series, and it sounds and looks amazing. This is amazing.
I need love.
I first thought there was like a crescendo comment, but just like builds and builds, subconsciously, maybe even because these tracks are also long. Maybe sometimes it even transitions and builds subconsciously through that, and you can only do that with long tracks. And for that, Swans is amazing for doing that. Like back in the day, they didn't do that at all. They like first did that on maybe on soundtracks for the blind, but this is amazing stuff. I need love, and he's like screaming that out. And on the second one, people, I guess, get aware of like that. Gio screams this, I need love. And then they're laughing again and laughing, and he needs love. Yeah, fine. This is so weird. This is just a little boy. It's just a little boy. What the hell is this album, this track? This is even more head numbing, dizzying than the previous album. And this is so different from all the other stuff. So unique, and it's amazing. There's also always like kind of like an ambience going on, building into droning, and yeah, it's amazing. There are no wall of sound so far, sometimes, I guess. And for that, it kind of like makes sense. This for the 8 minutes of this track, there weren't really like a big build up besides this one right here, where it's kind of like the drums get structure, and you can hear kind of Gio in the background, gah gah gah, and it's amazing. It's really weird. It's like some child kind of like screaming after not getting love, or just kind of messing around, destroying things. I don't know. Yeah, this is like a top tier stuff, and I love this. This is so much entertaining. This is so different, and I would just like name. I hope there's more stuff like this.
I'm not human! Not human! I need love. I need love.
Excuse me, where did that come from? That's like some I don't even know how to explain that one. Like, what was that? There was like some stabbing little moments, and I thought, well, here we go. Okay, he's coming. The big crescendo is a big part. Then it just ends. It's just a little boy, and then again it comes up and into this like big, angry mess. It's like all this distortion coming together, like some heavy rock stuff, some hardcore, and then again it's really silent right here. But there's something like a tension going on. You expect every second to just for it to explode. This is, wow. I hope you just get kind of like I hope you can see in just like in my reaction how amazing this is. Damn. I don't know why these lyrics aren't here right now, but living in a wonderland also is really funny, kind of like in the concept of like being in the belly. Like it's warm, you're fine, you don't have to worry about anything, you getting taken care of 24/7. You're in the wonderland, but still, I'm just a little boy, I'm not human, and I need love. And it's like this concept of like the reincarnation of birth right here is amazing. Coming from the first track screenshot, it also perfectly blends into this track right here. And we're just 20 minutes into this album, and it's 2 hours. Damn. Wow. Yeah, this track right here is genius again. In every way. Like the heavy parts are crescendos, yes, but they are so sudden, they are so heavy, they are so noisy, they are so abrasive, so extensive, and so amazing that I can't even put into words how genius it is to just like put this into like small bits. I've never heard something like that, and it's genius. Yes, that was a perfect track again, I guess. I mean, it's long. It gets its time to that, but it feels like 3 minutes for me. The first minute, very silent, takes its time. You can even hear the drums in the back really silent. The second minute, I guess, or the second part, um, kind of a build up to something of a full instrumentation and groove, something in the rhythmic section you can see, you can really get yourself into, and then they just cut it, and well, here we got these like abrasive vocals, and they move on to these little sections and bits into each other, and we have these little abrasive bits also and parts, and that's the amazing part right there, because we have these 3 sections and it feels like 3 minutes, because it's this is like the magic happening. How can you do such long progressive tracks in such a perfect way while not doing transitions at all sometimes? How do you do that with such a big band? This is amazing stuff. Yeah, that track. First, I thought about a 9, but honestly, this is also a 10. So let's see what the next track will do. I'm pumped. The next track is called A Little God in My Hands. Let's listen. Also really interesting. So I guess after just a little boy and being in the belly, now it's in the hands. Maybe it also makes sense that the second track and the last bit, well, kind of makes sense that there was a birth happening, like with all the pain involved. And well, here we are at the third track.
Pink little lamb, a granite slab, forever waiting. Oh yeah, the universal, my
Yeah, that's perfect again. What a start. It straight goes into the vocals and into the such a bass heavy, fun first riff section groove drumming. Drumming is straightforward. You get the rhythmic straight from the beginning. A little bit like screenshot. And pink little lamp on a granite slab. I love how he's singing this. It's like he sounds like he is singing like on this kid on this cover, like he's doing all this stuff. I don't know why I always think that. Black shadow creeping, forever leaking, or universe singing reverse. So there's kind of like something really dark going on. Oh, second long will never come. Forever loving, forever waiting. Oh yeah, it's the universal mind. He was singing that, and then bam, you get this big drone, big heavy, like full sound. The first wall of sound, I guess. On the song, there's no real noise about that drone. Is it noisy? I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, kind of like this Swans, but noisy Swans and Swans just like doing a heavy part or something different. But then after that, we got this big explosion. The drums are still there. We still got the groove going on, and it just moves on. The drums, they're like super chats. They just like move on. And after that, we get some like groovy parts, some like groovy one lead guitar right here, and some background, I don't know, synths, Rhodes, organs, I don't even know. I'm sure what these are. Pianos maybe. And we get a like, this is so full, so much going on, and it's perfect.
I call a sign. Hey, call a mind. A universe forever
There's some kind of insanity going on in this album. Forever lazy, forever crazy, forever holy, forever hungry. Hateful, beautiful, needing, reaching, stinking, breathing, growing, and leaving. And then we get this. I'm not sure if those are really vocals or words coming, or just like some like random chord doing some words or something like that. I'm not sure. And then oh shit and blood. Giro, I mean, you got a Christian after like the last two albums, but still, he's all Giro and I love it. But yeah, this track right here is amazing again. There are no really like heavy parts of the first one coming on right here or are inside, but I love just like that it moves on with the stuff it got. Like there's so much percussion stuff going on from the first second of this track. You're not really getting even close to being bored of this track. And it's the shortest one so far with 7 minutes. So that also means something, right? And it's great. Let's move on.
what's my name? Oh yeah, oh yeah. That universal, my yeah.
And then at the end, it just like clicks out like a little clock or something. What is this language? Anyways, yep. That track, A Little God in My Hands. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, that was a track and a half again. Like the last half when there were also some horn sections going on, and then the drum comes back again at the end. At oh yeah, what was my name again? Yes, universal mind, and it explodes with the drones and horn sections, and everything comes together, and some noise and some glitch going also on, actually. Some digital stuff, I guess. And it sounds amazing, like the blending of genres, experimental rock, I guess, right here also. It's amazing, and I love this track to every last second and bit right there. It was such a short track, 7 minute short track. Yeah, I don't care. What's the last? No, not the last. The next track. Brings the sun, Toussaint l'ouverture. L'ouverture, something. I don't know. Toussaint l'ouverture, and sounds French, I guess. But this looks a little bit. Nah. Liberté, égalité, fraternité. That's French, right? Toussaint l'ouverture, and we got Bring the Sun as a double track with 34 minutes. That's an interesting kind of like see right here. But let's see what this will do after the last one, which did so many different genre branding and things. I don't even know what to expect anymore. I don't know, maybe the first 20 minutes of this track going to be silent. I guess we'll see. Oh yeah, 1 second. On the last track I'm feeling a 10. Let's move on. First, we had some really like heavy parts. Like it begins with crescendos. I'm not sure if we had that the last time. I don't think we ever had that in the Swans song, as I can remember. Did we? It only starts with some like experimental sounds. It's some grooves, maybe sometimes also on this album, especially, with some little ideas, ambiences and stuff like that, but not with the crescendo and heavy part when all the sounds coming in with each other. And after that, going into a breakdown, and well, here's like kind of like the bass. The ambience on this track actually sounds like some stuff we heard on Soundtrack for the Blind, and especially on the live shows of Swans Are Dead. Like for example, Feel Happiness and stuff like that really sounds like this. And also the more ambient stuff at the back you hear in this track really reminds me of the ambience stuff we had on maybe like the first track on Soundtrack for the Blind. So there's really some like ideas they had previously moving into experimental rock and heavy stuff. And my favorite part on this one right here, the gyro vocals. It sounds like a preacher is like just like screaming out long stretched words on a mountain or something like that. It sounds amazing. Yeah, this is great stuff.
Some of us are
But here we get a kind of like a build up right after transitioning in between two kind of like sounds, while the guitar as a main part comes in later and his voice gets a little bit more reverby with the time, stretching to this track. And it's an amazing kind of like structure on this track so far for the first 8 minutes, which is unusual. And this album so far is unusual. Each track is so damn different. Each track has so many different ideas, and this right here really pushes the envelope again. Gira on this track so far is my favorite. Like right here, I guess he's doing some gibberish and I don't know why, but makes sense after the first 3 tracks to do something like that. While the third track right here was like some panic or something like that. And the second track was like procrastination of the panic, and the first track was it's kind of like its own intro and leak. This right here is really interesting also into that. But let's see how it moves on. But I think that this drumming is amazing again. Sometimes it's very different, distant, and using distance in sound in a very interesting way. Let's see how this will move on. Now that's what I call a progression. That's the first, I guess, Swans chord, or not chord progression, just like sound progression and crescendo progression I've ever heard. The guitar right here, you can still hear it silently. It's so seamlessly, perfectly structured. And the vocals right here are my favorite, like bring the sun, and then sun, like all the band, like a choir, just like singing that out, and it's amazing. But my favorite part right here is the double drumming. I think it's double drumming because either way it would be delay or just like a damn good drummer who can do these like a crazy fast drumming right here. And it's not like too much. Sometimes double drumming can be too much. Right here it's so well structured. And it sounds like some program stuff even. But I know that Swans doesn't do that. And this is amazing. The drumming, favorite part on this track right here so far. Besides Giro vocals. Pretty interesting switch up right here. Some saw sounds. Well, yeah, but let's talk about that heavy part. I ascended on that track right here into some other dimension. I don't know what that was. That was amazing. Like, those drums were so getting heavier and heavier and faster and more fuller and using more and more crashes and cymbals. At the end, it was just like some kind of blended sound of something that I can't even explain, and was perfect. That's the only thing I can tell you. Let's see where else this gets. We get some of these, like, I forgot how the instrument is called, but it's an instrument they use pretty oftenly. Also on the Seer, especially on that one. For example, at the beginning track of Lunacy, as a beginning. Amazing sound. Right here we get it again with some saw. Real kind of field recording stuff, I guess we'll see. This track right here is some like middle age torturing. I'm not sure what this really is, but this was so heavy. I didn't even know where was that kind of heavy part coming from. It comes out of nothing, just builds up and just smashes your ears away and bleeds them out, and it's intense and you won't believe it, but amazing. I loved how like there was some field recordings and stuff like that. Maybe it also makes sense with kind of like the writing that's coming. I kind of get like some old village feeling stuff. I don't know, but in such a weird way, I can't even describe where we at right now in the kind of like the narrative or something, if there is one. But yeah, that noise part right there. There's like some top piano stuff, but you only can get that really if you just like listen to these like 30 minutes in a clear, full way. And that one was perfect. Let's see what else we got. What a great second part right here. I guess it really transitions on this one, or there is like a mid section in between these two double, or this one double track right here, I don't know. But yeah, it goes into Toussaint l'ouverture liberté. It's so actually a little bit funny how kind of like extremely he kind of speaks out these lyrics right here. And it's so fun to just listen to this one. This track is so multi-phase and all over the place, but the kind of like the main instruments just are always there, and the we got again the ambience we are at the after intro kind of thing, and I like those. I love those. And right here the drumming is intense. It really gets you into kind of like a more of a rhythmic feeling you kind of also got from the second track on the album, just a little boy, a little bit, and it's amazing again. It's great. Let's see what else is good.
Sangre da Dios. Hijo da Dios. Vida es sangre. Toussaint l'ouverture. Toussaint l'ouverture.
It's great, really, what Jiro can do with just his voice. I mean, he's the main part of this track right here at the second half, and he gets out his voice in such interesting ways, in different ways, and sometimes he uses some like reverb, and sometimes he goes a little bit like further back from the microphone, and sometimes he's like really at it and screams out, and sometimes he's doing some weird voices and freedom dum dum, and uses also his own voice, and there shows some delay and time signatures, and it's so different and always entertaining and different, and it's like some, I don't know, some, what is this? I'm not even sure. And all the other instrumentations, the slide guitars, the drumming just moves on with the groove, which I still really can't get in touch with like 100%. It's so damn weirdly structured, these drums. There are so many open heads. You can use so many different ideas of using this little one thing, this head, and it just like freaks me out how they use it. And yeah, that's really amazing, and gets you into a weird time signature feeling, rhythm, sectionism, and yeah, this is perfect. Damn.
Ellos.
So those were all the 34 minutes of The Sun Brings the Sun, Toussaint Louverture. What else do I have to say? Well, I have to tell you that the last part of the noise was even more noisy and heavy and dense, especially dense, as the last section trying to do that and going to that direction. And the way it moves into that is always so seamless, and like this is so transition heavy and not directly explosive and goes direct into the heavy stuff. And there's no groove. Sometimes, yeah, there are some rhythms, especially in the drums and stuff like that, but it's so damn interesting how there were only like sections of like heaviness and grandness, and then in like the Brings the Sun, and so on and so on, and then Toussaint Louverture, and then like screaming a lot and freedom and stuff like that. And that was perfect. Can't do that differently in any way. And I think that track also deserves a 10 in that. At some parts, yeah, it maybe drags on a little bit too much, but still a 10. That's my only thing. Sometimes it drags a little bit too much, but yeah, come on. It's just a little nitpick. But yeah, what a track. What a journey of the track. Let's see what the next track will do. Jeez. Some things we do. That's interesting. An interesting title of a track. What are some things we do? Let's see.
We see, we feel, we need, we break, we hunt, we hurt, we seize, we kneel, we kill, we love, we veil, we crawl, we seek.
Very interesting track. We got some plugs right here, some strings plugs and some normal strings. Sounds a little bit like 1970 Avenue Blues of the Sear. Not as fucked up actually, and not like only using string screeches. This makes sense, a lot of sense actually in this album, doing something maybe also in that concept and idea, just in a way different way, just doing a very silent way. And I love the way these double vocals just sing together, like we see it, we feel, and so on. It really makes sense to do some vocals like that. I then wouldn't came up with something like that. It's perfect. And there are some like really distant loud tones and drumming and percussion, but not a lot, which is also just a little nice addition right here, which I really enjoy.
Thought we won't, we keep, we blind, we take, we hide, we serve, we regret, we learn, we choose and claw. We love, we love, we love, we fuck, we love, we love, we love, we love.
At the end, it even sounds like some sirens, and the kind of the writing gets a little bit different towards the end. But there's no second without the vocals, and there's no section in between or something. I mean, if it's 5 minutes, it's even feels like an interlude. But yeah, no, not really. It's something that makes sense. It's progression of this album, and I love how with all these words, it's just about like the concept of humanity and how weird it really is. Which we suffer, that we learn with tooth and claw, we touch, we teach, and stuff like that. And it's, yeah, this track right here didn't blow me away as all the other tracks, but still, songwriting wise and just like idea wise, perfect. 9. So let's see what's the next track we do, which is called She Loves Us. Let's listen. Also, it goes into a direction we had before. Something a little bit in between the second and the third track. Something in between that kind of like gets me the feeling. First, we had some really interesting sounds. Like it sounds like some digital plugs or something. I don't really know what that was. And then some really like grungy, heavy, intense, and experimental rock, like distortion guitars. Kind of like sounds like some stuff we had Mother of the World and second track in some parts. Sounds amazing. Sounds damn fucking amazing. And this track right here really nails it again. Those chants, la la la. It's like so damn weird. Almost too weird that it is to be even funny, because like she loves us, and then there's these like cheering kind of almost child kind of like cheering chants, and for then it's just like so weird to have something like that in a Swans track, but it just like suits their style just so much, and it adds so much to their songwriting. Let's see where else this gets. Also, after the kind of like the intro, this track really doesn't know where it wants to go. Like there's so much in how do you call that, if it's not like in rhythmic, non-rhythmic stuff going on. It's like all over the place, and just like the track doesn't know what's to do, and it's still like fighting with itself, and then it's really interesting, and I'm really looking forward to where we'll head to. What a groovy change up right here. I love how at first like you kind of like hear, all right, it kind of like knows what it wants to do, and then it changes into this like rhythmic guitar changes and progressions. Like there are no really chord progressions all over their Swans discography moving on from the seer. Yeah, maybe it's here like a piece of from this a piece of the sky or from the sky. I'm not sure again. It has some chord progression stuff and really melodic, but this right here is just like straight up goes into the just rhythmic and ideas and intenseness and also noisiness. But the abrasiveness of this track right here really changes up into getting into some noisy noise rock ideas that maybe also other bands also did maybe in the 90s, just in a new suit with some experimental stuff and some ideas with some of these like also like double layered ambience going on in the back that you don't really actually recognize if you're not really listening to all the sounds really going on, and it's perfect. So let's see where this is good. Also, the writing on this track is really interesting, coming into some things of like come to my house, come to my lung, come to my house, and mouth, tongue, fun, 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 and then I'm your girl, I'm your son, come to my mouth, come to my lung. I think he's talking about doing something with another person, I guess. And beginning was like the first sentence, I'm no thing. Maybe also like talking about all these things, how they are bad, and not about like bad, but some people just like think about that it's like a necessity, something that just have to happen, not a thing that is fun. No, yeah, he's like, yeah, fun, right? Here, but still, I guess he means it in a way that it's not about love, if you know what I mean. And then it goes into some other directions of this like sound also, like when it goes into this groovy part, it's really infectious and intense, but then it goes also into these like heavy like slide guitars, and they just noise up all of these like things. And if you listen to this album just like one through one go, it really makes sense that there are some like sounds like this, and it really has this intenseness right here, and it's amazing. Come to my love. Come to my love. Your name is fire. Your name is fire. Come to Yeah, She Loves Us is also one of the longest track on this album, as I can see, and with 17 minutes, there was so much in this track. Not as on like Bring the Sun, where in like 34 minutes you've kind of get the same idea all over the track, but that in double kind of like way, and using more sonic evolution and stuff. Right here you get with She Loves Us first is really head numbing rhythm going into some real groovy, almost like I don't know, the tracks I talked before, like for example a third one or the first one even. And right here we get into something real different. After that we get into some like into some chants with the hallelujah, and then some like single screaming, and some just like straight looking like in this cover right here in front of the microphone thing, if you know what I mean. And it's so heavy. I don't think Jira ever had something this great in all of this discography, coming into something like his vocal effort on this album he really put in. It's really underappreciated also, maybe, I'm not really sure. While yes, it is noisy, it is hellish, there's so much going on in the instrumentals, but without these vocals there would be nothing really. And the cursing also on this track is like so effective. I loved that. And also there was no like really noisy part like on Toussaint Louverture at the end. Right here with She Loves Us, it really is progressively even more getting noisier in a way that it gets more fuller in sound, but not like deafening or something like that, if you know what I mean. Great fucking track again. Feeling something between a 9 and a 10. Damn. So let's see what the next track will do. I'm pumped. Let's see. The next track is called Kirsten Supine. Supine, right? Supino? I'm not sure. Let's listen. For the first 4 minutes on this track, we get a really a singer-songwriter almost feeling, a really silent feeling, distant feeling. There are no real like directions, but it really flows into maybe some more slower rock right here. Of course, like you still hear some like guitars, main guitar, which is more silent, and you hear some like of these like beautiful little percussion bells or something. This little Glockenspiel. It's a German word, but I think you also call it in other languages like that. And it sounds beautiful. It's slow. It's a little bit like a mixture of like the previous track on the previous album we had on this year, The Daughter Brings the Water, and a little bit like A Piece of the Sky. And gets something in between that, and it's really beautiful and slow. And I really like the weird percussions that sometimes like of these like bottles or something like clacking in. And I'm really interested how this will move on. The songwriting wise also really interesting. I I immediately thought about this folding and folding in. The water brings a flower string. Like in the sea we had, the daughter brings the water, and right here, folding in, the water brings the flower string. The water sings the black horse scream. It's pretty weird, but I mean, songwriting wise, this album is way more abstract. Well, yes, it mostly is in Swans and Jiwa's songwriting, but right here it is like you look into an abstract, like painting or something, and it's really interesting. It's really intriguing. So I guess we should just move on.
I will let it go. I won't let it go. I will let it go. I can't let it go.
Pretty interesting progression right here into a pretty repetitive kind of sound right here with these like drums, and I don't think is it the bass like here. Even at the beginning of this track we had a very silent but flavorful bass, which was not loud or something, but it was really nice coming into this one also right here. And right here it transitions into something a little bit more maybe sinister. I'm not really sure. It's pretty open right here, but I like how it moves on from the songwriting right here, and you only get instrumentals from here on, and it's about like I will let it go, can let it go, and it just like in the feeling of the songwriting that you get, really pictures itself again into the songwriting. While the sound also changes while the vocals go away. So right here, you first like get the, if you think about like a movie, there's a part where the kind of like the soundtrack is in the back, and then the soundtrack gets louder. Like I always like think about the last scene on Fight Club, where then the track by the Pixies come in right there. And there's a breakdown right there. And first the soundtrack was pretty like silent in the back, you can still hear it. And right here it's the same, it transitions into this, and it's great. I love that style that Swans uses pretty often. Like we had the Harvest track, and it's all instrumental now, so pretty excited. Let's see. Yeah, this is great again. I love the way that it slowly evolves. It's not like some heavy part right here. Maybe some people would see this as the most like, I don't know, unimportant track or unimpressive track, or you know what I mean. But right here, I like that it's slowly evolving. We get some of these like slide guitars again. We get double guitars. There's one which is only there to kind of support the kick on the drums right here. Well, always the drumming is always pretty much in the back, but I think there are two drummers, right? A percussionist drummer and a normal drummer. So I guess that it sounds like this can be weird, but I'm kind of into it. But let's see how this one would close up, and I think it will close up in a different way. We had it always on this album so far, so let's see. So yeah, there was Kirsten Supine or Supine. A really weird track. First goes into a very very silent rock track, goes into different ideas in songwriting, which is very cryptic, very weird, and I want to get more into that text right here. But was a progression at the end. I kind of split on. I expected there to be like a big part. I don't think it was necessary. There were some like of these like weird strings we also had on 93 Avenue Blues. Kind of not as these strings we had before on this album right here. A little bit more as weird as we had on the last album. But I do really love this one. I don't know why. It's maybe just a feeling of all the combinations of all the tracks coming together and makes sense that it is just here on this album and in this track list. But it's not the most impressive track so far, for sure. So I'm feeling something between an 8 and a 9, but more than 8. But still great. I loved at the end how these scratching comes in and it gets louder and louder, and the double kind of like drums also come in really silently, but I love how Swans uses progressions not in chords, just in volume also. I love that. So let's see what else we got right here in the next track, which is called Oxygen. Let's listen. Wow, what a track. Holy shit. Like, it's a little bit like Screenshot, just faster, groovier, heavier. I don't know, is that like a bass and a guitar just together and just losing? Is it a. I don't know, what is it? Or is it just a really crunchy bass? I'm not sure, but it sounds badass. I love this track so far. We're just 1.5 minutes into the track already, but anyways, then the drumming comes in. What is this drumming? The groove, the time signatures, I don't know how the drummer uses his hi-hats, but it's amazing. It's like he has like 4 arms. I don't know. Maybe he's an octopus. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's like 2 drums. But I don't know. It's insane. It's insane. And Jira? I'm telling you, Jira is just the MVP of this album right here. How he screams out oxygen, and then how he uses his voice in this weird tremolo, and then in screaming and until his breath is gone, like his oxygen is gone. At the end, it just sounds so damn fucked up. I love that. And then should you lose some oxygen, and he screams even like, should you lose some? So loud, and damn, I'm amazed on this track so far. Let's see what else it gets. Yeah, this is top tier track. This is one of the best, maybe the best Swans track that I've heard so far. Oh man, um, these Jiwa screams are amazing. It kind of like reminds me of I don't remember how the live show is called. Like not Swans Are Dead, the other one. Way before that. That's like really noisy and fucked up. It kind of like reminds me of some parts of that, like screaming and hey man, oxygen. And I don't want to scream right now because there are other people in the house, but this track makes me feel different things. I don't know. I just want to break my green screen right here. Something, my lamp. I relax. Damn, I don't want to stop on this track right here, but yes, this track is skin tight. Like also like oxygen, like also it makes so much sense that this track is called oxygen, but because it's always like sounds like he's breathing and then not allowing to breathe or not like you're getting suffocated and try to get oxygen from everywhere and you check your lung or something and you kind of like and then like you gasping this oxygen and I don't know how this track is so effective and you just like try so hard to get to stay alive or something. I don't know, and like it sounds like you're not getting oxygen and you just like fight, you grabbing everywhere, you try to get in a place where you can breathe or something and going mentally insane or something. This track is insane and it's so damn groovy and so much going on. These horn sections that also got added into this track right here is genius. Yeah, this track is perfect. I also wanted to tell you, I love Jiro on this track. It's the best vocal effort by Jiro ever. Like skin tight, how he just like screams at all is amazing, and oxygen. And what is this track? This one is amazing. Oxygen! I loved every second of that. Oh my. Yeah, this one right here is monumental. That's one of the best rock tracks I've ever heard, and probably the best Swans track of all their discography. Which is saying probably a little bit too low. I mean, there are so many great tracks by Swans. but this one right here is an easy contender for like the top 3 or something. Man, this track. And at the end, how he just like screams, and then they stop. The band just stops, but there's so much feedback that it rumbles and rumbles. I don't think that's bass, but it's just like rumbles, and on your whole left ear, you can just hear the feedback. Like the whole house was probably shaking when they did that track. I don't know what that was, but it was amazing. And then you can hear this weird one whistle thing they use, this weird fleet, and it's so noisy and weird. Yeah, but that track is a monumental track. That one was perfect. What a blessing of a track right there. Damn. Yeah. Perfect. So let's see what else we will get on this damn album. Let's see. The next track is called Nathalie Neal. Let's listen.
So the java is danced with a partner, so you do need a partner, and you put your hand on your partner's buttock, and then you do very little steps. It is a very, very dynamic dance.
Pretty interesting start. Kind of sounds maybe a little bit lunacy-like. Some parts also from maybe their 2010 album a little bit. My Father Will Guide Me. A little bit something like that with those, I don't know if that's really pianos, bells, something in between that. I'm not really sure. Or is this like huge harp they use sometimes? I always forgot how that one instrument is called they always use to do that sound. But I saw at the live show of the Seer that Pitchfork once filmed, they was showing what the kind of like the sound quality check before like the band plays live is like, and yeah, that's loud. And they also use that instrument, and it's so damn loud. You can't even imagine that. And right here we get some like also acoustic guitars, I think it was. Very silent after Oxygen. And a bit gets a little bit maybe back to Kirsten Supine or something. I guess we'll see. Yeah, this track is fire. I first thought it's going to be a more of a silent track, but then, like, right when I tell that, instantly the drumming starts with a pretty progressive. No, not really progressive. And it kind of like stays in the same volume. It's not really going up, but it's really transcending song. Maybe also it's very repetitive and but the songwriting is really great. And it's the chord progression on this one side right here. When it comes to Love Is Wrong, Love Is Long, is perfect. That's perfect. You don't really get these really often. You get those, and I think it was it Opus State or was it Avatar? I'm not really sure, but Swans already uses that sometimes. But when they does that, perfect. Especially when it's like a 10 minute track like here, and on Genius it was written. Nathalie Neal is the daughter of Mike Jagger, so just putting the daughter into a song so they can live on forever in this song. I mean, it's genius. What a genius. But anyways, yeah, let's move on. Before we go into the outro right here, with like the length and the stretching of this, maybe this chord progression or this track generally, it I think it would be sped up in the drums, of course, maybe a little bit slower. It would sound like some folk stuff actually, like the chord progression is pretty folky, and it first there was like this one like voice message or something like that from her daughter, like talking about like about this dance that there is, and then it's Nathalie dance upon a useless lie. Love is strong, hate is gone, live forever in this song, and so on. And I love how he's just like screams her name or shouts her name. I hope he did that every time, just casually at home. That would be perfect. But anyways, yeah, this track is really, really good. So let's see what the outro will do.
Nathalie Neal.
So yeah, that was Nathalie Neal. That one was really, really, really good. Also at the end right there, the outro was really nice and kind of like singing a little bit slower and it's been more silent, with some distant, really little, pretty high guitars. And yeah, this one right here was also really, really good. Feeling a straight 9 or 10 on this one. More 9 though. But yeah, this one was also great. So let's see what the last track, I guess. We that far? Damn. So let's see. It's a title track, the last track, which is called "To Be Kind." All right, I'm pumped. Let's see. Let's listen.
To be kind, to be real, in a bed painted blue, touching you, just listening.
First, it really reminds me of Hepper's Child of Soundtracks for the Blind, or the era of Soundtracks for the Blind, and also the Swans Are Dead live version of that. Really, really silent. There's an ambience in the back again. I love the piano on this. The little instrumentation is also everywhere. The acoustic guitar was Giro is perfect right here. And to be kind, to be kind, to be real, to be new, to be sung by a song that's untrue. The falling sun, the fallen one in a bed, painted blue, touching you, listening, just listening. Kind of like about it is kind of maybe like above. Being real and new. And then in a bed, painted blue, touching you, listening, just listening, not talking, not doing something consciously yet, maybe, just listening. Really interesting, but let's see. Kind of like gives me a conceptually feeling more than the tracks before that so far had. But let's see.
To be lost, to be lost, to be found in the sound of this room. There are millions and millions of stars in your
Damn, what a swell, what a beginning of this crescendo. And it gets like louder. First it was like really silent, to be kind, and then really, and there are millions of stars in your eyes. And it gets louder and louder, and then there comes a swell. It's still really slow though. And then it builds a little bit, gets louder a little bit, and then it stops. And then it gets a crescendo in the heavy part in there. And that one was really loud though, and intense. This album is more noisier, more heavier. It's like more like a big pound of cake, while you think about like maybe does that even make sense? I don't know. While the sea is maybe a really beautifully picked and thought out meal or something. I don't know. And that's how it ends. What a finish. A very different finish also to Apostate, 23 minutes track of this year. Very different approach. A little bit open-ended also, but just for the feeling, a perfect end for this album right here in sound. And maybe to do a full circle of sound and idea of sound for this album conceptually maybe is. Yeah, it's like they put some like extra meat on this album right here after this year. While I think about where I was talking about like that this year is just so dark and wow, this one right here is just, there's so much angry parts, there's like heavy parts, grand parts, transcendent parts, experimental, and it goes sometimes even to groovy and just really head numbing with all these like grooves and intense riffs, sometimes going into full on noise parts. Sometimes they put in some ambience, but just for a short second after completely going insane and nuts again. For example, right here, get a little bit of a breather and then the second part, and then it gets even louder and louder. When you think it's done, no, I was just like putting up my finger while I was listening to this track, because nope, it's going back again. I guess I will tell you, or something like that. You know what I mean? And how to end an album already right there, and it's a 10 track. The 10 track right here really makes sense for that also, to do that as an outro. Perfect. Damn. So yeah, that was To Be Kind. I'm gonna let this album sit for more longer time, I guess. But I guess we'll see. But this one was so damn heavy. So yeah, I recorded for 4 hours. That's great. And anyways, see you. Alright. Swans, To Be Kind. Additional thoughts. Where do I have my... Anyways. A more bold and maybe even direct experimental rock record right here. While this year maybe feels ancient, if you know what I mean, and dark. To Be Kind right here feels human, angry and chaotic. But there's often a groove. For example, like there are 3 or 4 tracks where are such like heavy grooves that won't get out of your head, or bombastic rhythm or something in between some of these noisy tracks, between like the sheer noise and chaos, and that makes these 2 albums so different each other, while being just the same instruments that they used and band members, of course, and that's just amazing. I listened to this album right here like in one go through one more time, and then each individual track like here and there, but well, first the highlights. Screenshot, for example, is a perfect intro with getting groovy and layering in a slow but steady way, moving on where Apostate kind of left, for me, even like songwriting wise and so on. Great outro on that track, and first step into madness. Just a Little Boy is a mind-bending 12-minute track that doesn't hesitate to be very silent also, and empty sometimes and at some points, which is a good thing right here, but also scaring and stabbing and kind of like coming out of the dark sometimes and stabbing you with these like sudden heavy guitar riffs on that track. That was awesome. Also, A Little God in My Hands is the most infectious track on this album, and I think I will never forget the heavy and painful drone that comes in after the one line that Gio sings, and it's amazing. Yeah, and that in just a positive way, that it's painful, if you know what I mean. And the earworm-inducing bass and riff on that track is awesome. Oxygen is the standard track and my favorite on this album. It's aggressive, badass, and I can't express really my feelings of like all of this groove on this track, but it's uniquely the best rock composition and layering while not overblowing with that I've ever heard and doing too much. Just a simple but effective noise rock track right here about fighting for oxygen. Like it's your last kind of track ever. And breathing with your last oxygen. And while the vocalist Jerome, I looked that up, wasn't the situation because of an asthma attack. He has asthma. And fighting for oxygen and going to a hospital and being hospitalized because of this, and just because of that, he wants to do a track that we will appreciate oxygen, and it's genius. Yeah, and for that, I also wanted to talk about a little bit more about Jira in this album. This is the most impressive work vocally by Jira he has ever done so far. I always was a big fan of like his vocals, but right here he did something else. His screams, his shouting, his singing, sometimes being silent, and being a centerpiece of this album, not as an instrument, sound-wise, even with his voice, is amazing. And I think that will be pretty much understated while listening to this album. I like read some reviews and I thought, well, nobody's really talking about his vocals. They are amazing all over this album. So many highlights when it comes to that. All the other tracks, especially the double track Bring the Sun, Toussaint Louverture, are just as important tracks for this album to work, and using noise, drone and rock grooves effectively with clever abstract picturesque songwriting. For example, like Bring the Sun. Amazing style on that track. It was like all these chords and change ups, little details going on in a 34-minute track with so many details. It's amazing. That they record that thing is even I can't even explain how that is possible on the track. Something really otherworldly. If I had to pick my least favorite track of this album, it would be Kirsten Supine or Supine. I still don't know how it is pronounced, but I still like the build-up and the noise at the end with the stuttering drums and doubling and more and heavy parts over heavy parts. Yeah, that track is really nice. While moving into the song in the first 6 minutes of that one pretty silently, which was also a really nice approach. But yeah, it's not a standard track, but it's still a very good track. And now I'm even more excited to listen to The Glowing Man, the next one after here. And well, let's see what that one will do to that discography, because To Be Kind right here did something new, exciting, heavy, noisy, and I loved it. So yeah, on To Be Kind, I'm feeling a strong 9 to a 10.